So the first document that we are going to look is AWS Project Deploy WordPress with Amazon RDS. That is the project proposal for deployment of WordPress with Amazon and RDS and EC2. So this is the Techpledge consulting services. It is prepared by Mark John. And here you see for whom it is prepared. It is prepared for TPCS, which is the client. Here you can see the document version is 1, department is architect department, and delivery end of month. So this is the table of content. As every company will have its own table of content, like all the indexes will be from its own. So the main thing is they will start with project summary, then the proposed solutions will be given in a logical term approach in a WordPress site view. Then our design their design and the deployment approach will be given by Techpledge. Then deployment timelines and milestone, how a higher level project approach is being done, different phases from planning to stabilization phase we'll see, and the roles and responsibilities. So the index is covering whole of this. Now moving on to the first thing, this is a project summary. So a proposed of project sponsor, a member of TPCS. You can see the proposed project sponsor is member of TPCS. Now proposed project board, who are on board, Techpledge architect, consultant, IT head, IT team. The proposed project manager, Mr. Project Manager name will be given. Then target start date and target completion date. So in project summary, these are the main important things where you know the project sponsor, boards, manager, target start date, and target completion date. So outline business case. So in outline business case, what you can see that TPCS is a renowned company based on out of USA approach Techpledge Consulting regarding setting up of WordPress site to run a blog on Amazon AWS. So what are the requirements, what it actually is looking for, and how about the background and rationale. So what WordPress is, how it consists of 30% of all the sites on internet. Then how TPCS can be benefited with using WordPress. So in rational and background, this is given. So next are the objectives. So these are important. What objectives we want to achieve? So objectives that we want to achieve is automated backup and recovery. So you won't lose any data where any accident comes into picture. Regular update, patching, easy installation, minimizing the downtime. So if there's any service outage is there, there should be no downtime. So running the current services in Amazon AWS for same cost or less than on-prem. So pay as per go model. So all these objectives should be fulfilled at the end. What is the business focus on? The understand the current business environment and economic symbiosis between business and technical solution as an architecture and constraints, and gather all the usage data. So business focuses on current business economics to gathering the usage data. What are option variations? Baseline option to stay on premise or use AWS cloud. So here we are going to look for capacity focused on variation to consider in Amazon AWS options. So what if we stay on premise? What we say if we stay traditional, or what if we stay on AWS cloud? So what are the offerings like AWS will provide? So these are database maintenance for your WordPress site. So then your database instance hold all your important data. If it goes down, your website may go down. The database maintenance can be difficult. So how this can be achieved using Amazon RDS for MySQL will help to solve all these problems. Then it will manage, as RDS is a managed service, everything is managed by its own. Tracking available capacity will be actual on demand, like preloading capacity for own peak cycles. All the things when you come into cloud, it will be given. Consolidation for SQL host, solution focused on variations, like these are the solutions that Amazon EC2 instance to install and host the WordPress application. Also an Amazon RDS for MySQL database to store your WordPress data. So this is the solution given for this. These are variation options. They are saying that, stating that baseline option, if you stay on premise, this will be the difficulties coming in, and if you go for cloud, what it will help with. So next is benefits. You can see benefits. If we have found that running Amazon AWS 24 by 7 is typically more expensive on average cost the entire data center that the equivalent on-premise deployment. But factoring in factual utilization makes it cheaper. So what the statement is saying, that the utilization, what you are utilizing, it will make it cheaper. As we know, 25 by 4 7 we are running, it will cost you. But instead of going for an on-premise deployment, the actual utilization will make it cheaper. This is because as AWS is quicker, it's on-demand thing, and then all the load is managed. All the services are provided by AWS, so it's more agile and can scale up, like scale up, scale down as per your requirement. So all the things are benefited over here. It's a only paper as you model. Outline cost. What is outline cost? So for TPCS, more than half of their own premise cost, on premise cost, were due to the networking and storage, due to over engineered network architecture and expensive SAN storage. So what we came to know, that TPCS, it had more cost due to its over engineered network architecture, expensive SAN storage. So from an environment view of point, so 40% of their cost were due to the pre-production environment which was running 24 by 7. So all the 40% cost were due to their on going services, on premise services. But then Amazon AWS cost are driven by CPU RAM needed, only needed when the storage and networking cost tending to be much smaller components of the total cost. So when you go for cost optimization, you can see that intensively, like you will be when you go with AWS platform, all the cost will be efficiently optimized. So like on premise model will go for capex, and AWS will go for opex. So for capital expenditure, going on that terms, it will be better to go with operational expenditures. So this is how the cost management will be done, and you can see how the cost will be optimized. And you can see in this picture that capital cost for hardwares like AWS will give you, like resulting the cash flow position, hardware replacement due to failure are already included. So here the in on premise model, in traditional method, if you go, there will be more cost and utilization will be low. But if you go for Amazon, you will be paying as per your requirement, all the services what you use, and then it will be cost optimized. So key deliverables, they are important, that 24 by 7 the blog will be running, and Amazon EC2 instance to install and host the WordPress application, and RDS to manage it, like the RDS for MySQL DB to store your WordPress data. As you know, the WordPress data hold the application, won't like only EC2 will be holding the application, not the whole data. So data will be in MySQL, like RDS MySQL. So that will help. So that comes into picture. And what are the stakeholders? What are the key stakeholders? That is IT infra team, customer cloud team, security team, business team. So these are all the key holders. And what are the key resources? So engineer, DB, architect, PM, that is project manager. These are the key resources. So we have seen till now different points, like from summary, outline, business case, and then we are moving on to next, that is consideration. What should be considered? First is IT environment, the Active Directory, VMware XI, Microsoft SQL, Windows Server. So this is a picture how the environment will look. Database servers, web servers, Active Directory, Department of Environmental Services, Office Network. Here your web application you will browse. This will be your internet, firewall. All this IT environment comes into picture. Other consideration, what you will consider? A high level solution, agreed goals, financial models you will consider, financial gives and gets across Techpledge consulting and TPCS. So Techpledge will give and get across the TPCs, like high level time for change program or showing them work streams. So what different things will be there? Ownership of any new IP resulting, like new IP you want, then ownership of that, specific roles and responsibilities. Governance is important, like for steering committee and communication. So escalation path agreed from TPCs to create a case study. Like all this consideration will be there in other consideration. So next is the proposed solution logical architect. In talking terms of logical architect, we can see there is a WordPress, PHP app, MySQL server, TPS, NV region, existing S3 bucket, and this is WordPress source on internet. So this is how a user will access this thing. This is a logical architecture, and here you can see a proposed solution. So this is what we execute. This is what we come at the last. What we get is a WordPress site to be used by our users, to be used by TPCS users. So this is how the actual site will look. You need the credentials, and then you log in to that site. So this is Techpledge consulting design approach, and that is deployment approach. So in design approach, they understand the current business economics, then they understand as in architecture and constraints. So here they recognize the business drivers, see their businesses through their eyes, target inflection points. Then what here it is, then what is being migrated, constant technicals, particular non-technical, like we see, like understand that as is architecture and constraints, like we see and think, like understand how the architecture and constraints are there. The third is gathering the details, like major actual usage, not the provision one, and compartmentalization usage by functions and environment. You see, gather the usage, you compare that, compartmentalize that, and then you we don't provision that, but we actually see the measure the usage. And the last is develop a detailed financial model for a selection solution option. So last is model financials, like different business and technical solutions will be there. We will develop a financial model for a selection of solution options, like there will be different options, and then we'll go for developing a detailed financial model. So this is a design approach, and in development approach, as I had already told you, it goes through 12 stages, 12 steps, from understanding the current business environment still getting ready with the WordPress site. So you can go through that once again if you don't understand. And then the deployment timeline and milestone. I said you why milestones are important. You need to describe them properly, and you need to achieve them according to your timeline. And if you prioritize your work, it's good to achieve them before the timeline. It will be beneficial for you. So this is how high level project approach is done. Like weeks are planned. So first 2 weeks you give for planning, then you start building from the second week, then you go for deployment from the fourth week, then you stabilize it in the sixth week, and dedicated A B, how build and deployment things are there, how the team works, how batches works. So these are the phases, like planning phase, what you do in planning phase, what you do in building phase. So during the planning phase, the team prepares the functional specifications, see, build the initial architecture blueprint. You can read these points: build the initial deployment blueprints, planning and AWS setup, set up initial project planning, then the team structure, tracking, also the risk management, and then validate and finalize the architecture blueprint, configuration blueprints too, establish a project organization and allocate the resources, also identify and define the UAT procedures, the verification, define different platform acceptance test on core components to support your coexistence. So this is all coming in planning phase. You need to plan it properly. And then we go to building phase, where you do a preparation of procedures, like to build your core platform, building blocks you can say. So it's an execution of the functional test. It is defined as in UAT, procedure verification criteria. Also validation and finalization of the procedures, going through the execution of functional test, or you can define the platform acceptance test. Like, so all different phases, all this activity comes under this build phase. Actually, building phase is the team build, the core infrastructure, and it will prepare the procedures. Like, it's the main point where the phase, like the transition of deployment phase comes into picture. So after that, deployment phase comes, where you deploy the services. Now in deployment, set up the new tenants. So as you know, in deployment, it's like what you are actually going to do, what you're actually deploying. You're deploying a WordPress site. So how to start? First we need to build the tenants. Then we configure the regions. Then IAM roles. You need to provide access. Then create a MySQL. Then configure the connectivity, create an EC2 instance, and allow the EC2 instance to access your RDS. After that, you create a database user for your WordPress application, and then give it permission to access the WordPress. After that, install the Apache web server on EC2, download the WordPress software, set up the configure of EC2, and then you deploy and explore the new site. So deploy phase, we will see in technical execution document. We'll see each and every step, how the deployment is done. Now, as I had explained you, stabilization phase, it is all about resolving issues and bugs. Whatever the issues come, we'll resolve that. So that report is being formed. And the last thing is roles and responsibilities. So in this document, in proposal document, you came to know what was the index for, and and we are seeing the roles and responsibilities once the team is formed. The program manager, project manager, technical leader, and subject matter experts, deployment leads, all this you see, and then you come to know what are their responsibilities. So yes, the project manager will help and be there for primary point of contact of the team. He will be seeing the risk management, prioritizing the things, day to day activities, how the deliverables are being there, how the team delivers those things. Then program manager, he makes the project decisions. He is for escalating unresolved issues to executive steering committee, clears all the project roadblocks from customer's perspective. All the roadblocks that are coming into picture, he will clear all that. And technical leader will be for technicalities. The primary technical point, he will be there, responsible for overall architecture. And it will be the first level of quality control, coordinate technical status meetings, like all the things from till the delivery streams, like overall will be coming into picture, like all technical perspective. The technical leader will look for. And deployment leads will see how the execution is done, how responsible for end to end deployment. And then if needed, they are supported by subject matter expert. If they need a specific component to be related, like or in with the in deployment leads, if they need help, they will call for subject matter experts, which are responsible to build a target environment, like a specific subject matter expert, like what they are responsible for, like implementation of any infrastructure. Like if they want help with EC2, then that subject matter expert will come into picture. So this is how whole project proposal is. So we came to know from the index itself. We have seen, we saw project summary, who was the sponsor, who is the manager, who is holding as customer, client. And then proposed solution, we saw a logical architecture, we saw a solution for the WordPress. Then we saw Techpledge design, deployment approach. We went through different milestone, planning phase, stabilize phase. We went to different phases, and then we saw which roles were there and who played which responsibility. So this is how the proposal looks like. So this is document, and I will share with that, you go through that. Okay, we'll stop here, and then we'll next see the planning, how the project plan is done. Let's stop here.